How often do you hear someone say, I was wrong, I made a mistake, I'm very sorry. What I believed before has proven to be incorrect and I'm very happy to admit it. Very rare to hear people say that. Have you ever said it? Have you said it recently? Better question, have you ever been wrong? Have you ever made a mistake? Has your opinion ever been proven wrong? And of course, I'm an old lady. I've lived on the planet a really long time, and I've had to say that so many times in my life, and I have no challenge saying it. When I was a bit younger and more arrogant and I had a big ego, it was very difficult to say, oh, I'm wrong, or I was wrong, or I'm very sorry I made a mistake. But now I'm really happy to say it because I've been wrong so many times, I have to say it. So here's a great question. Why don't we just question everything? Why do we believe something? So something I've been doing as an old lady is I go over everything in my brain that I believe to be true. Every opinion, every idea, everything that I think is a fact. And I go through my headspace and then I research and analyze and study and ask for different opinions and look at all the different things available for that particular opinion or belief. And ask myself, is it true? Did I believe somebody else? Did I believe an expert? Was I brainwashed? Was I taught that at school? Was my teacher correct? Were my parents correct? Does the science really show that? There are so many things in the world that we believe to be true, and when you go and have a look at where they came from, they're actually not true. And I'm really happy to say that. So there's so many times, particularly in the exercise profession, when it comes to do with eating and exercise, 10,000 steps, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, 3 sets of 10, 8 glasses of water. There's a whole heap of things that people believe to be true that are constantly now argued. And because I've lived on the planet for such a long time, there's some things that have come and gone. So this is a really good thing and then it becomes a bad thing and then it becomes a good thing again. So there's a really great way to work through all of that, I think, and I ask this every day, and this is my begging position, why not learn how the human body works? Because if you're studying the body, then of course you're going to be studying the brain. And if you study how the brain works, then we start looking at why people have opinions, why people have beliefs, why people can be brainwashed, why people can be told a certain thing that isn't true and why they believe it. And I find that really fascinating, which is why I study the human body and the human brain every day. And here's another great question. You're going to be living in your body for the rest of your life. You've lived in it since you were born. You have to deal with your brain every single day. It lives inside your body. Why not learn how it works? Why rely on an expert? And I'm very happy to admit when I'm wrong, but I would like other people to admit that they're wrong too. And it seems that people are regurgitating somebody else's opinion and then they defend that opinion and they haven't even studied what that other person said. And the reason I know that is because I ask, why do you believe that? Why do you think that's true? What studies or what research or what analyzation, a word that doesn't exist but I love to use, have you done to find out whether or not that's true? And sadly and very embarrassingly and in a very awkward situation, most people will say to me, oh, I haven't read the study or I haven't spoken to the person or I just believed it to be true. So I don't want to live in that world, and I share that with you very, very passionately because I don't want to be brainwashed. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want people telling me what to do. I want to work it out for myself. Now, the next part of that is if there's a research study or there's a belief or there's an opinion or there's something that the experts say, will it necessarily work for you? Because there's so many things in the world where people believe it to be true, but you might not like that food, or you might not like to exercise that way, or you might not want to do that with your money, or you might not want a relationship like that. And they're the 4 things that I bang on about every day. Be healthy, fit and strong, have a career or business that you love, be financially free and have great people in your life. But that means different things for different people. Healthy, fit and strong is very different for an elite athlete than it is for somebody who just wants to get through their day. A career or business that you love, for some people it's $1 billion business, and for some people it's earning $1,000 a week. Financially free for some people is being able to go to the supermarket and not have to worry about the prices, and for other people it's about being able to buy a $25 million home, which is somebody I spoke to today, and they've just bought a $25 million home. That's their dream, that's what they believe to be financially free or financially secure. And then relationships are different for everybody. What you accept in a relationship or what you want in a relationship is very different to me and to the rest of the world. So why do we this group think I need to believe what everybody else believes or do what everybody else is doing. And the reason I'm asking this is, as adults, you can do whatever you want. But I don't want our kids to think that that's the way they have to live. What do you think? I want our kids to think for themselves, be critical thinkers, be mentally tough, be mentally strong, analyse for themselves rather than be told. One of the great quotes that comes out of my college on a day-to-day basis, at Max we believe that education is not about telling people what to think. It's teaching people how to think for themselves. So to think for yourself, of course, you have to say, why? Why would I do that? How does it work? And then work it out for yourself. So do the study and research for yourself. And I don't look at studies or research for that reason, because studies and research are done by humans who have opinions, who are being paid. Research studies mostly in the world now are being paid by somebody to prove a point. So I'm not interested in research studies, and I'm not interested in what people think or their opinion. It's not because I don't respect them, but I want to know for myself. So for me, that's why anatomy and physiology is so important. If you learn, and they're both set sciences, if you learn what the body's made of and how it works, and then how the brain works, is it possible that you're more likely to be able to think for yourself? And that's the main reason why in my life I've had to say, I was wrong, I made a mistake, what I thought to be true was just not true. Because when I studied it for myself, when I learned how the human body works, I realized that I was wrong, and the experts that were telling me stuff, they were wrong too. They don't tend to like to say that, though. I was wrong. You don't usually hear that. When do we hear the government say that? We were wrong, we made a mistake. When do we hear doctors say that? Very, very rarely. And doctors have got to be very careful, because if they tell you to do something and they're wrong, and then they say that they were wrong, then you have the right to sue them. And that's why most doctors will tell you what to do, and then if they were wrong, they'll never admit it, because there's a legal ramification there. So I live in a world where that's every single day there's somebody being told, take this pill, take this medication, use this diet, do this exercise program, you should, you must, you have to. And I always ask, why would I do that and how does it work? Why would we believe an expert? And the reason for that, of course, is that all the experts disagree. Some experts believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and some experts think that you shouldn't eat till after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some people believe that you should be a carnivore. Some people believe that you should be a vegan vegetarian. Some experts believe that exercise is bad for you, and some believe it's good for you. Why not work it out for yourself? So rather than have to be like me, an old lady, and say so often, I was wrong, I made a mistake. And I'm very happy to say it, because I love learning. And when I learned that I was wrong, I love it. I love saying I was wrong. I have no challenge saying that, because it means I've done my research, I've done my study, and I now realize that I made a mistake. But rather than being embarrassed by those two things, I'm wrong, I made a mistake, why not be excited by them? And why not do the study for yourself rather than believing what other people tell you? Because the world is full of experts, isn't it? Doctors, governments, medical professionals, so-called experts in every area, whether it is health and fitness, your career or business, financial freedom and relationships. There's so many opinions about all of those, and usually that's what they are, just opinions, yeah? Why not, yes, have your own opinion, and everybody has the right to their opinion, but why would you accept somebody else's opinion without studying it and researching and analysing it for yourself? If you want to live your life to the max, learn more stuff. And then if you're wrong, you can say, I was wrong. Woohoo! Live your life to the max. That's why I've got a big library. Super duper doo. How are you? Living my life to the max. Woo!